Welcome back. Today we step into the relentless rhythm of industrial woodworking, where raw timber is transformed into structured precision. The process begins at the mechanical planer. Feeding rough planks through heavy steel rollers strips away surface imperfections and establishes a uniform thickness. This consistency is the foundation of everything that follows. Without identical dimensions, large-scale assembly is impossible. An industrial press applies immense downward force to the freshly bundled stacks. This prevents the natural tendency of green wood to warp or bow as it waits for treatment. Next comes chemical preservation. Submerging the lumber triggers a foaming reaction that forces protective compounds deep into the cellular structure of the wood. This treatment shields the organic material from moisture and decay. Once cured, the stabilized timber moves to the staging yard. Inside the secondary processing area, the focus shifts to component fabrication. Automated cross-cut saws trim the long planks down to exact lengths. The speed of the blade is critical here. A fast, sharp cut shears the wood fibers cleanly, preventing tear-out on the end grain. These standardized lengths will serve as the core structural elements for heavy-duty shipping pallets. Efficiency dictates the layout. Conveyor systems keep the material moving seamlessly between workstations. Waste is minimized by capturing small offcuts for secondary products or fuel. At the assembly benches, the raw components finally come together. Pneumatic nail guns drive coil-fed fasteners deep into the joints in a fraction of a second. The ribbed shank of an industrial pallet nail acts like a screw, gripping the surrounding wood fibers to resist pullout under extreme dynamic loads. The repetitive impact demands intense focus and a practiced rhythm. Finished pallets form towering columns on the factory floor. Their structural integrity relies entirely on the precision of those pneumatic joints. A single weak connection can compromise a load weighing several tons. Forklifts manage the heavy logistics, shuttling the completed platforms out to the loading docks. These unglamorous wooden frames are the invisible backbone of global supply chains. Across the facility, the scale of production tightens into bespoke furniture fabrication. Bonding decorative laminates requires massive, even pressure. An industrial screw press clamps the newly glued white panel against its substrate. The threaded metal mechanism delivers tons of static force, ensuring the adhesive spreads uniformly without trapped air bubbles. Once cured, a handheld jigsaw trims away the excess material. The blade cuts just wide of the final dimension, leaving room for fine-tuning. A blast of compressed air clears away the abrasive wood dust before edge routing. The high-speed router bit shears the laminate perfectly flush with the underlying core. Lubricant prevents the spinning metal from burning the delicate white finish. Orbital sanders and hand grinders then handle the final polish. Smoothing the ready-used corners removes micro splinters and creates a seamless tactile transition between the materials. The edge must feel perfect to the touch. The architectural base of the table is a heavily textured, fluted cylinder. Wrapping it in plastic film protects the pristine finish during the final hardware assembly. Heavy-duty screws anchor the mounting plate deep into the underside of the tabletop. The torque setting on the drill prevents the fasteners from stripping the composite wood core. Precision alignment here dictates the ultimate stability of the piece. In the showroom, the industrial process disappears entirely behind design. The focus now shifts from building furniture to stripping an entire interior down to its structural core. Demolition is methodical, not chaotic. Removing trim and casing with a flat pry bar minimizes damage to the underlying concrete structure. When removing old door jambs, a reciprocating saw easily slices through hidden framing nails. Severing these steel fasteners allows the heavy timber to collapse inward without pulling chunks of the masonry wall down with it. Old flooring is levered up to expose the subfloor beneath. The yellow underlayment acts as an acoustic and thermal break, isolating the living space from the cold concrete slab below. Removing the overhead ceiling trim requires overhead leverage. The workers target the original nailing points to break the bond. Stripping the room bare is the only way to establish a true level baseline for the modern fixtures and surfaces to come. Precision matters just as much in framing as it does in fine furniture. A laser level projects an absolutely horizontal reference line across the room, completely ignoring the imperfections of the existing concrete slab. Translating these measurements to the overhead ceiling establishes the new drop height. Every pencil mark dictates where the structural load will bear. The room's geometry is being entirely redefined.
맞았어.
Tearing out the original ceiling panels exposes the old fastening grid. The craftsmen begin building a reinforced wooden skeleton directly over the structural concrete. Perimeter beams are pinned to the walls first, acting as the foundation for the suspended grid. A pneumatic nail gun drives heavy-gauge brads into the timber, permanently locking the joints. Each cut with the circular saw is tailored to the room's subtle irregularities, ensuring the frame sits perfectly square.
나중에 빼, 나중에.
The internal joists are spaced tightly to prevent the future gypsum boards from sagging under their own weight. This grid system also creates a critical void space for routing modern electrical conduit and ventilation. Miter saws speed up the dimensional cutting on the floor, allowing the overhead assembly to move rapidly. To lock the floating frame firmly against the masonry, polyurethane spray foam is injected into the gaps. It expands and hardens, damping vibration and sealing air leaks. With the skeletal grid cured and rigid, the first structural panels are lifted into place. A laser tool verifies the plane remains flawlessly flat. Nailing the panels to the wooden joists creates a continuous diaphragm, adding immense shear strength to the ceiling assembly. Before the surface is entirely sealed, a hole saw opens access for recessed lighting. The flexible electrical conduit is threaded through the overhead void, protected from physical damage within the new ceiling cavity.
또. 앞에. 거기. 이쪽으로.
Moving to the main living area, the crew handles large format gypsum boards. Gypsum is highly favored for interiors due to its natural fire resistance and acoustic deadening properties. Working overhead requires coordination. One misstep can easily snap the brittle core of the heavy sheet. Expanding foam is used again along the perimeter joints, accommodating thermal expansion while blocking drafts from the exterior walls. The heavy pneumatic fastening quickly transforms the exposed framework into a clean, geometric volume.
내가 맞출게.
밀어.
the ceiling edges demand precise tailoring to meet the masonry walls seamlessly. For the vertical surfaces, the installation method shifts entirely. Instead of mechanical fasteners alone, high-tack construction adhesive is applied directly to the back of the gypsum boards. Pressing the panel against the concrete wall creates an immediate, permanent bond. This adhesive method eliminates the need for wall studs, maximizing the usable square footage of the room while still providing a perfectly plumb surface.
네. 뒤로. 거기 올라와. 맞췄어?
The serpentine pattern of the adhesive is deliberate. It ensures a broad, even distribution of the glue beneath the panel, preventing hollow voids that could crack under pressure later. Narrow gypsum strips are cut and fitted to form intricate ceiling coves and drop borders. A wooden straight edge confirms the corners run true. Even a millimeter of deviation here will cast obvious, jagged shadows once the low-angle architectural lighting is finally powered on. The raw drywall is wrapped in thick, white wallpaper, a technique that covers seams and provides a flawless finish without the dust of traditional plaster sanding. Using a wide, stiff brush, the craftsman forces trapped air pockets out toward the edges. The material is carefully pressed into the tight geometric coves of the ceiling frame. Tension is managed precisely. Pull too hard, and the paper tears. Leave it slack, and the surface will bubble as the adhesive cures. The broad planes of the ceiling receive the final continuous sheets, sealing the intricate framing forever out of sight. The payoff is a masterclass in clean lines and controlled light. What began as a raw, exposed concrete shell has been meticulously layered into a refined living space. The invisible framework, the engineered panels, and the precise finishing all operate together. A structure built with patience ultimately becomes a place of calm.